Joint Schools Committee presentation by Jonathan Arritt and Erica Hunter.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Preston. Sure I can speak for Ms. Hunter. We've given several of these updates and reports throughout the last year, and I'm very glad to be giving this one tonight because it should constitute the last that we should give this body. As you all know, the Joint School Services Committee has been working diligently the past year. That our committee has reached the point where it can present its findings is a testament, I think, to the high level of cooperation that exists between the city and the county here. It's also indicative, I think, of good leadership to have the willingness to take on tough issues. So I'd be remiss if I didn't thank each of our Joint School Service Committee members as well as the bodies from which they serve. Several months back, I found a quote from Henry Ford. I think that it properly encompasses our efforts. Mr. Ford said, "Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, but working together is success." And I think by that measure, in and of itself, we can say that we've been successful. The documents you have before you this evening constitute the full body of the Joint Committee's work. Throughout the process, we've tried to keep our stated goal in mind, to maintain and continue to pursue excellence in education for our area youth, while providing the fiscal responsibility the citizens of our community expect and deserve. We believe our committee has shown that there are possibilities to that end. At various points throughout the process, members of the committee have traveled to Richmond to meet with leaders at the state level, to include Delegate Austin and Senator Deeds, Superintendent of Public Instruction Dr. James Lane, and Education Secretary Atif Carney. All have expressed interest in our efforts and have offered their support should our proposal be accepted and approved at the local level. The foundation of our work is contained in the feasibility study authored by James Regenball and Dr. Richard Salmon. These two gentlemen combined for nearly 80 years of experience in state, local, and school finance, and their work was a major catalyst to our efforts. Following that report last December, our committee broke off into 5 separate subcommittees, those being finance, governance, facilities, transportation, and curriculum. Those subcommittees were comprised of committee members themselves, local experts, and educational professionals from around the area. Before I dive into some of the facility recommendations, it is important to differentiate some of the work that the committee and the subcommittees have done. Some of what is contained in the subcommittee reports is required by State Code Section 22.1-25. And you can think of that as a rough framework of a house. The additional work that the committee has done is an effort to do all of the extra things that make that facility look like an actual house. So there is some distinctions there to be made. Our subcommittee findings are as follows. Our Finance Subcommittee recommends a per-pupil funding formula basis for both yearly budget process as well as shared capital expenses. The existing debt service should be transferred to the individual localities for retirement. An early retirement incentive package should be offered to help right-size the division staff over time. And a 3 to 5 year budget agreement term length should be used to promote stability while allowing flexibility for changing fiscal conditions. Our governance subcommittee recommends a 4-3 board makeup, that being 4 from Allegheny County and 3 from the city of Covington, with initial appointments giving way to elected seats via referendum. A 2/3 majority of the entire body is recommended for superintendent hiring or termination and building closure or construction. Our timeline calls for a July 1st, 2022 beginning of the new division and a 2023-2024 joining of the student bodies. The Facilities Subcommittee recommends a high school, middle school configuration with K through 5 in elementary, 6 through 8 in the middle school, and 9 through 12 in a high school. The current Allegheny High School facility would serve as the high school, and the current Covington High School would serve as the middle school. It's important to note that JRTC's proximity to Allegheny and the capacities as defined by the architectural firm's assessment were the deciding factors in this. Casey Field was a unanimous choice for, I should say Casey Field and Jackson River Sports Complex were unanimous choices for serving as the varsity athletic venues as allowable. The Transportation Subcommittee recommends the current Allegheny County Public School System's logistics program, TransFinder, to help tackle bus routing and other logistical issues. And the Curriculum Subcommittee, to me, this is where the rubber meets the road. Not enough can be said about the work of this subcommittee, but the Curriculum Subcommittee explored many different concepts, from traditional project-based learning, magnet school concepts, and last but certainly not least, a very intriguing greater integration with Dabney S. Lancaster. Career and technical education, as well as arts and humanities, certainly have possibilities for expansion. And I have in my notes here to finish that up that that subcommittee was far and away the most exciting, I think, of all of them. Finance and governance, I'm sure, was piquing the interest of many in the area, but going back to our mission statement, obviously achieving some extra fiscal sustainability is part of what we were all trying to do, but from a curriculum standpoint, it was a pleasure to be just on the call listening to some of the people talk about what possibilities exist in a consolidated division. With that, I'll be happy to take any questions you all have from the board.